Hey guys, this is me, Ryan. Um, and I'm here to talk about my thoughts on Splinter Cell Blacklist. Now, the first Splinter Cell I played was the first one, and I was really blown away by that. I was about, I think, when did it came out in 2002? So I played it like a year after it came out, and I was about 8. And I loved it. I loved the tension and basically what it was. I mean, I was completely blown away by the first game. It was just something completely new that, I mean, nobody's ever done before. They never did a game like this before. And especially for an 8-year-old to see all these sets and, the shadow and, the darkened shadow and the music and all that suspense. I mean, it really blew my mind when I played the game, and it was just such an amazing experience when I first played it. Then, years later, in 2010, I played it again, and I still liked it. I still really did like it, but, which this was a PS2 version. I mean, if you're going to play the first one, I recommend the PS2 version, because that one's done the best. And it's not so like, are you kidding me? Because on the Xbox version, they have a few parts of the missions where it's just like, doesn't make any sense, and it's so challenging. Like, when I played the PS2, there was a few moments of the first one. Well, this is my biggest complaint about the first one. The guards. Okay? The way they talk, the way their attitude is, and the way they shoot at, like, nothing drives me nuts. And then all of a sudden it's like, they're shooting out of nowhere, and you could just be in one little spot and then bam, they get you, and it's like, how do they even see me? Like, they don't even see you when they get you. Those are the things that really I really don't like about the game, is the guards, and just the level of difficulty. They don't give you too much options on certain things, and I don't know, especially that last mission on the very first Splinter Cell, that last one. That kind of like church location to try to get Nicolads. I didn't like that mission. When I killed him, I was like, okay, cool, and then the game was over, and I'm like, alright. And the game definitely stands on its own because, I mean, look at the pros. It has great music, great locations. I love the locations in the game. The feel of the game, the attention to detail, the light and shadow, Sam Fisher, and the suspense, and the sound editing, all that is great in the game. So that's what really sticks to me in the very first Splinter Cell. The things I don't like is the gameplay and the guards, and alarms going off for no reason, and certain just little like twitches in the game. I mean, certain things that seem like they're impossible, and that is the longest Splinter Cell game I ever played. That took me about 2 weeks when I replayed it. When I played it when I was little, I think that I played it for like a month, I think. But then after that, I immediately jumped to Pandora Tomorrow, and this is my second favorite of the series. I love Pandora Tomorrow because there's more. Sam's a little bit more developed than the last one. I really wish Pandora Tomorrow was the very first Splinter Cell, and the first Splinter Cell was like a prequel. And Pandora Tomorrow just felt like the very first Splinter Cell. It felt like, a new adventure, a new mission, and the story's much more better. The story in the first Splinter Cell was awful too. That's another negative of the first one. I mean, there was no story with the very first Splinter Cell. There's nothing exciting in the first Splinter Cell when it came to story-wise. And to me, it really sticks to me of a storyline in a video game. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to play this because of the action and the stealth and the experience. But you have to have a story, you know what I mean, to do that. And Pandora Tomorrow was a really great story. I really liked the storyline for that one. I liked the villain a lot more than the first one. The whole smallpox thing was interesting, and Sam is doing more. I mean, it was kind of like the first one, but a lot better. Kind of like 2.0, but like a lot better. And the last 2 missions, actually the last 3 missions, I really did enjoy. The one with the submarine, I love that one. I love the one when it's in the rain and he's after the threat. He's after the guy and the fact that he captures him alive is the best part. I mean, I was really surprised by that. I'm like, you really have to capture him alive. Like, oh wow, because in the first one you just had to shoot him in the head, the bad guy, and then this one you have to capture him alive. I'm like, oh my god. And the best line of the whole series that Sam ever said was in Pandora Tomorrow. If I had any blood left, I'd be blushing. That is such a sick, awesome, epic line ever. I love that line he said. Um, and it just was so great. So you guys are like, oh, well, this guy, he's, all these kids now that love Conviction, they don't know nothing about the original Splinter Cell. I grown up with the original Splinter Cells, and yet I do like the new style too, so I don't want to hear that. Pandora Tomorrow is a full masterpiece, and then also that you're in the Los Angeles airport. I mean, that was nail biting. The whole mission I was playing it. I mean, it was such a challenge, and yet it was so exciting because you're like, oh my god, I'm in a big location. You're in Los Angeles airport. I mean, it was such a fun ride, and once the game was over with, I was very, very pleased with it. Absolutely love Pandora Tomorrow. I mean, there's a few parts of the game that get on my nerves and are kind of like but the moments when you're on the train and the train's coming, it's like, oh my god, and those kind of moments, those really get to me and really stick out to me, from Pandora Tomorrow, because I'm always gonna remember that train mission, not the training, but I mean the train, when the trains are like about to hit him, and he's very moving all around it, and then when he captures him, forgot his name, sorry, him alive, and all that. I mean, those things really I'm always gonna remember Pandora Tomorrow. Now we get to Chaos Theory. Now this is my favorite of the series, and this is a lot of people's favorite of the series. When I first played this, I was not a fan of it, actually, to be honest. I did not like it because it was so different from the first two. It was easier. I wasn't quite used to the music. I wasn't used to the new gameplay that they added to it, and all that stuff. I wasn't quite used to it because it was very different from the first two Splinter Cells. Very different from Pandora Tomorrow, too. And but so I didn't quite care for it. But then as I replayed it last year and this year and really gave it a new chance, it's definitely a masterpiece. I mean, just the attention to detail in Chaos Theory, all the locations, there's so much detail. I mean, you could just seriously just stand there and just look around, and the humor is so great in that one. When he's grabbing them and he's doing his interrogations, and those are absolutely hilarious. I mean, they are so awesome. And then the punching, or the stabbing, the knife. I mean, the knife is like the best thing of the game. I mean, the knife is so awesome. One of the other best things about it was that you have the opportunity to be really stealthy, or kill people and slit their throats. You can either choose both ways, and that was really cool. And just like I said, all the locations are very interesting, especially the lighthouse. That is an awesome, I don't know if you call it prologue or very opening to the game. That is the best opening to the whole series, was that mission. The lighthouse is just epic. And the music. I mean, don't even get me wrong. The composer of the guy who did Chaos Theory is phenomenal. I mean, he made you feel like you're in a stealth game, and just the score of the lighthouse was great. And then also the one in Maria Narcissa, that boat. I mean, the cargo ship, whatever you call it. That had good music there too. And then the whole game was just so much. It had so much good humor and so much good suspense, and it was just a fun ride. And I enjoyed every single time. And then just the little details, you get extra credits. 100% stealth points. I mean, I love that stuff that they did with Chaos Theory, and that was just so great. Now, and then what I really liked about Chaos Theory is you really got to see Sam start to crack a little bit, especially Doug Shetland. Like, he is my favorite villain of that whole series. and because he was like Sam Fisher's, Joker is, Batman. I mean, Batman, the Joker's always going on about Batman. Oh, they're using you and all that kind of stuff. That was the same thing with Shetland as Sam. He was like telling him, the government's overusing you. You're just a weapon to them, and I really like that because he gave him a card, and then Sam, for a second, he kind of like felt that, like maybe they are using me, and then he ignored it, he just put the cup on the card, because I think he kind of knows, but yet he wants to do something for the country, because he's so old, he needs something to do, because he lost his wife, from cancer, and he's got his daughter, and, he doesn't, he's gone, I mean, he's really out of there person, but yet he doesn't show it. And it was such a great experience in Chaos Theory. It was absolutely perfect. I mean, there's no complaints about the game. I mean, it's a masterpiece. The music, the detail, and just everything. It's done so well, and I could play it all the time, and it was great. I mean, especially the bathhouse. I mean, come on, that mission is just so, nail biting, just like the airport mission, Pandora Tomorrow. It's like, oh, I'm getting Shetland alive, and when they're both are like talking to each other, especially when Sam's like disarming the bombs and he's like talking to him, and you feel like that tension, and then Sam's got the gun up to him, and you wouldn't shoot an old friend, and then I actually picked the one where I actually stabbed him, so it made more sense. He's like, you're right, Doug, I wouldn't shoot an old friend, and that was just so awesome. And then obviously, the last mission is always great. I love when there's a big... I missed that, because that was what it was with, actually, the two... Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, and Double Agent. They always had a big-ass mission, and then the last one was like... There's actually one more mission, and it's not with the main, villain, or... Well, that wasn't with Double Agent. That was with Pandora Tomorrow and Chaos Theory. So that was great to see that again, because, you're after... this Asian guy that basically wants to provoke a World War III, and then Chinese, whatever his name is, and I love when he just stabs himself, you know what I mean? And Sam's just like, what? And then I love when he starts bashing on Lambert, and the people are talking to his ear, like, I mean, you start to see Sam really develop. I mean, the first two, he was kind of like, yeah, I'm just a guy, I'm a Splinter Cell. Pandora Tomorrow, I mean, there's more character to him, but Chaos Theory, there's a lot of character to him. I mean, he's actually like a real person in a way, and yet he's still, cracked. And I love it when he says to Lambert, next time, you're gonna go on the missions. I'm gonna be making the crazy plans and all the, all that stuff, and that was great. And then when the game was over, it was over, and that was it. I was like, well, what happens now? They could have easily ended the series in Chaos Theory. They really didn't have to go on, because, I mean, Sam was happy. Everybody, I mean, they really got what they wanted. I mean, he got rid of Shetland, he was mentioned, I think, in the first one. He was mentioned also in Pandora Tomorrow, so he was a character around the trilogy. So they got rid of him, and that could have been it. They could have easily stopped the series there, and I would have been completely satisfied with that. But then Double Agent was a huge risk. I'm not even going to talk about the PS2 Xbox version of that. That one is terrible. I'm not even going to talk about that one. They forced that one so much. Absolutely forced that. And it was so dark, too. It was terrible. Anyway, so we go to Double Agent Xbox 360 version, which I consider the actual Double Agent one. And it's not because of the graphics. It's better gameplay and better, like, you kind of get more what's going on. So, and then there's obviously the new villain, and basically Sam finds out his daughter's dead. And, that's when you see him really start to crack. I mean, this is when Sam's he's lost it, and now, he's in prison, he escapes, he's working for two people, NSA and JBA, and he's got to pick, what am I going to pick here, I'm going to pick there, which one am I going to decide? And the cool thing is about that, you get to replay it and find out if you actually did pick that, what would happen. And I replayed it plenty of times to find out what the real ending was, which was on the ship, which I love that part of the ship. When he grabs Moss, and he cracks his neck if you do grab him, and then he just jumps off the boat and bam, it explodes, and it's to be continued. It's like, oh, I guess that's the end. I mean, they had the credits first, and after that, it's like a Easter egg. For like movies, they have an Easter egg at the end. So that was really cool to have that. That was really cool, and it was an interesting story because, I mean, he went through a lot of challenges. I mean, he goes through a snow mission during the day, and then he's in an Africa mission. I mean, those were really nail-biting to me because you've never seen Sam go through those situations before, and that was really cool. And so that was really, really great. I was happy with the game, and then I love the whole Spy versus Mercenary. Those that multiplayer, that was all great, and this is definitely my third favorite of the series because I like the music, I like the storyline, I really like the way it goes. And it has the same gameplay as Chaos Theory, so I don't know why people would complain about it too much. So it's a very, very fun experience, ride. I mean, it was definitely great for that to be on the 360. I mean, Ubisoft really showed how good they can be with graphics. And it was just a fun experience. We went through so many cool locations, and so, yeah, that's my third favorite. Now we get to Conviction. Now, there was a lot of problems I heard about this game because they had basically two games that they made because there was that one where, he's a hobo kind of, and you get to pick up people and pick up objects and stuff. And then what Conviction did, the other one, they completely redid it, and they did a new direction. Now I'll talk about the flaws and the pros of Conviction because they completely remade the whole series. You know what I mean? Like, all right, my favorite things about Conviction would be the mark and execute. All right. The hand-to-hand if you use your hands to kill someone, you get to mark and execute people, which is I think is really cool. He's faster. I mean, he's definitely a lot more faster. That way it's more of a great roller coaster ride because he's very much fast paced, kind of like how a spy should really be, which they did lag in the last. And you think that in Chaos Theory and those other ones that they wouldn't allow him to go up pipes really fastly and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why they had to make him so slow, but I mean I don't really care about that too much. But I mean that was really cool, and then all the colors in Conviction are done really well. I like the detail. The music's also good too. There's always been good music in every single Splinter Cell. I've never complained. I also like that Sam's daughter is alive, and he reconnects with her again. Because the last time you actually see him with Sarah, an actual sequence with those two were in the very, very first one at the end of the Xbox version, where when he's talking to he's laughing at the TV, and then about the news, and then he picks up the phone and he's like, "Hello, Lambert." You can see Sarah behind him, so I mean that was the only time, and then he reconnected with her, and that was really cool. And Vic was a cool, interesting character that was never mentioned in the other ones. You get to see more of Grimm, get to see more of her character and see how, like, twisted she is. I like when he goes back to Third Echelon, he's like, "Fisher, I used to work here," and he completely blows it all up, I mean, that was really cool. And, that he takes down the new Splinter Cells after Lambert's dead, and all that stuff. And I really like that. The cover system's awesome, and I love the 5.7 gun, it's like, it's really cool. And then the gadgets are also really cool, and all that stuff. I really like the deniable ops really too. I really like those, the hunter mode, and those are cool. I mean, I really do enjoy those. So those are the good things about the game that I really do like. The things I don't like about the game is it's not a good enough story. What's with the whole EMP thing? Are you kidding me? I mean, to me, what a story was to me in Splinter Cell was when he was on those missions with Lambert, and he was a part of Third Echelon, trying to get rid of this threat. That was a story to me because you were Splinter Cell. With Conviction, it was like he was after his daughter's death. Why wasn't the whole game just that? Why was this whole EMP bullshit? He has to go to the White House and all. I mean, where is this coming from? And then you don't have a knife. Where's the knife? He lost his knife. I like the new goggles, kind of, but I kind of miss the old ones because that's Splinter Cell to me. I mean, the blue vision and all that. I mean, I really do miss that a lot. And so, hold on, I'm gonna go to my room, but Dad's here. Hey, Dad. So you guys aren't completely bothered by my dad. All right. Let me finish this up. What? I'm making a video review, Dad. You may want to go away right now. I don't want to hear it. Close the door, please.
You want to go to PDI with me?
What's PDI?
Your disc for your back. I got to get there before 7. For your appointment coming up next week.
Oh, hold on. Give me a minute.
Come with me.
Hold on.
Okay,
It's my dad. Me and my dad. Anyway. So I'll pretty much wrap up Conviction. It's 50-50 because it has really cool elements that are new, and it misses a lot of old elements that I miss absolutely a lot. But after that, when Sam was basically like, I'm walking, I was like, okay, this is the end of Sam. Let's leave him alone. You know what I mean? Like, either end the series or bring someone new in. You know what I mean? Like, brings like a new Splinter Cell. Maybe Sam was like hiring, and he's the one, you know, calling the shots since he's the owner of Fourth Echelon, basically in Blacklist. Why did they just do that? Why do you have? This is the most stupidest things I've ever seen or heard in my entire life. You have a 30-year-old, whatever that guy, how old that guy is. He looks like he's in his late 20s. Have that kind of voice for a 60-year-old man. What? And my question is, why are you even putting Sam in an Iraq location and all this stuff when he basically is like completely done with everything? I mean, he's done 5 games. His character was there. Leave him alone now. I mean, that's it. That's over. If you're gonna go a new direction, then bring someone new in, because you're gonna lose a lot of fans, and you're gonna lose a lot of people that absolutely love this series and miss the old style, which I certainly do miss the old style a lot, even though I do like the new style in a way. I mean, I'll get Blacklist because they're bringing back Spy vs. Mercs. The co-op is always good. The co-op's always been good with Chaos Theory and then Conviction. I really did like that co-op. So I will get it for that, and I will get it for the Spy vs. Mercs, because that was my favorite thing of the Splinter Cells. And so that is a big complaint, is Michael Ironside not coming back. Now, I don't know if Michael Ironside read the script and he didn't like the direction it was going, so he like, I'm done. Which I would completely agree, because the way they are going with this character is not the way you really need to go with his character, because basically they're using him as a weapon, and basically like Sam basically was talking about that in Conviction. Like, seriously, remember at the end, you know, when he's like, funny you should say that, you know, when, about trust, and, you know, he's like, goodbye, Grim. I mean, it seemed like that was the end of his character. Like, okay, he's gonna go back to Sarah, and he's gonna have his life, you know, that he wants to retire. I mean, leave him alone. I mean, there was in Double Agent Lambert, it's time for me to retire. I mean, he's getting old, so, you know, leave his character alone. I mean, Sam is Sam Fisher, so, I mean, Michael Ironside is Sam Fisher. You know what I mean? So leave his character alone. I mean, don't do that. I mean, if Michael Ironside's not going to agree to do the voice of Sam Fisher, you're trying to go for a more techno like kind of game, like Assassin's Creed and all this kind of stuff. I mean, don't imitate Rockstar with what they're doing with their games, because I mean that's their style. Ubisoft, I know what you're doing with Assassin's Creed and all your other games, but don't do that with Splinter Cell, seriously. I mean, this series has gone on since 2002 with hardcore Splinter Cell gamers, so that really irritates me a lot. So just give it to a new person. You know what I mean? Like, you know, either Sam hired this person and he's calling the shots of Fourth Echelon, you know, Sam's like behind, or the president hires someone to be the owner of Fourth Echelon, and he's basically looks like a Splinter Cell, and goes on those missions, and just do that. You just leave Sam alone. I mean, you don't have to have Sam to, you know, get money from, you know, audiences and all that. I mean, I've heard tons of people about Blacklist that they're not getting the game just because Michael Ironside's not doing the voice, and so that's that's a big deal. I mean, it, Michael Ironside is Sam Fisher, so you can't change that. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. Can I help you, Dad? I'm making a video. No, I'm not pausing it. I'm making my video right now.
You want to take a ride? Get some air?
You have to give me at least 2 more minutes.
We need one more. We're not gonna make it.
Fine, then I won't make it in time.
How long do you need?
Like 3 minutes.
1 or 2 minutes.
Well then, whatever. Anyway, I'm 16. Yeah, I got my own car. Anyway, basically, that's all I really have to say about Blacklist. And I really hope they do it right. I mean, there's a lot of fans that are not going to buy it just because Mike Ironside's not doing the voice. So, Ubisoft, you better get Michael in there and record the voice. If not, you're going to lose your audience, and you're going to lose money, and the series is going to die on this one, Blacklist. So, whatever. So I'll talk to you guys later. That's my review, my thoughts on Blacklist, Splinter Cell Blacklist, and basically my review of the series. So, alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Alright. Bye.